All right. Do you want video? No, doesn't matter. Let's see what we look like. Oh, it's kind of nice to see something. All right. Don't all of a sudden pretend to be like good posture. Hi. All right. This is a very relaxed recording of part of the 10 session program. I might even do a screen recording. That's a good idea. Portion of screen. Share. Up we go. All right. So everyone's on the same page, literally. I'm in a really playful energy today, so this is going to be fun. They stop me asking questions and kind of chat about it.
Can I borrow a pen as well?
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk through the order of emotions. Alex has been doing work with breathing space for nearly a whole year. Started around like the May, June time last year. Yeah. So going from the 5 session into the 10 session, and there's been lots of group check-ins and chats and teachings. So this is a great place to jump into moving forward. The order of emotions is a teaching piece from one of my greatest mentors and coaches, Nicholas Di Castella. And I'm just going to keep this screen open so the camera's on, but you can look at the big one up there if you want to. So the dotted line across the horizontal is kind of where we're going to start. And we're talking about the order of emotions because it helps us get more of an understanding around what's happening when we do a breathwork session. It also can come up when you're having a conversation with someone in life. It doesn't always have to be breathwork related, but it's kind of good to get back to breathwork. It's like a home base for teaching. Cool. So what happens when we actually start to feel, when we actually start to let the can of worms open or say yes to all feelings and giving ourselves permission to feel? We get many layers of feelings that come up. We won't always feel them in the exact same order, but this is a really good guide to kind of understand the possibility of where we track with a breathwork session or when we're having a big feeling moment with somebody. So from the dotted line, you've got this arrow here, and it's kind of like a tug of war between fear and being vulnerable. And if we stay in fear, we stay stuck. If we feel the fear and we speak our truth or we express fully, it takes courage and it's a sense of vulnerability, right? That's obvious. And I think for anyone who's ever gone through this, this will be like a checklist. Yep, that makes sense. Yep, that makes sense. I've not actually known anyone to go through this teaching and be like, that doesn't happen to me. Yeah. So it's a nice feeling of like, I'm actually just human and I'm having feelings and this is okay. So on the left side of the screen, you can see express, which kind of goes down, which to me, my logical brain's like, that's not right. And suppress is going up, right? So that's suppress, express. Yeah. But it's just good to notice that when we are expressing, the arrow is going down. And when we are suppressing, that's where all the negativity and the part of the chart is at the top half. Okay, so when we suppress feelings, this is what happens. Take a breath and see. I'm just going to move this mouse down here. Right, so we are going to talk about what happens when we suppress all the feelings and how much more pain and suffering it can create. So say we're angry. The sensation of anger is what for you? What happens to your body when you get angry? Yeah, hot and intense. Yeah. When I get really angry, I actually get like really reactive. I have to be really mindful to not say nasty, hurtful, reactive, big things. Put to myself, like angry with myself or with someone else. Hot, I totally feel that too. Tense, I get it in my jaw. And if I suppress it, if it's not the right time or place to express anger, I get a headache.
Yeah.
I guess it's like hot-headed and there's nowhere for it to go.
It does feel kind of floppy, doesn't it? You kind of like,
yeah, you get stuck in it.
Yeah, it's like you just have a kind of like blind rage.
Yeah, or hot-headed.
Yeah, because it's just like that's all there is.
Yeah. Fire rages are a really good visual. What other analogies? Yeah. Hot-headed, blow a fuse. What other ways do we articulate being in anger? Like, lose my shit. Lose my shit. But like, think about suppressed anger is to be constipated. Like, so many people who are withheld and really tired, gut issues and pain in the body. So they're the physical sensations, and we talk about it really quite openly as we explain someone's personality or their type of behavior. So we know what all of it means. So anger is basically a message that says, I don't like it like this. Whatever it is, everyone's got different opinions. I don't like it like this. Or whatever is happening, I want it to stop. Or whatever is not happening, I want it to start. Like, hurry up, I want to start on time. Or stop being late, we need to be here on time. Or can you please pick the towel up off the ground, is always a funny, playful example for an interaction in a relationship. How many times does it take for the towel to be left on the ground before we speak up? How many times do I bottle it up and suppress little bits of annoyance before it gets big and explosive? So to breathe in and become aware of how much anger we actually just minimalize and just push to the side for a minute, it's important to notice that. And then also notice if we do wait for it to build, we have a lot more to play with, which is why we lose control and then it gets ugly. We're just getting some thunder. That sounds beautiful. Okay, so anger is energy, right? It's one of the emotions in the body. It gives us power to stand up and to express ourselves. It causes us pain if we don't use it, if we actually suppress it and block it in, like gritted teeth or walking on eggshells or bite our tongue, that kind of stuff. And so when we get really big and angry, we can either choose to take it in a closed-hearted state, which goes into blame. So if we're going to shut down and contract and go into suppressing anger because we haven't been taught how to express it in a healthy and safe way, it becomes distorted, dysfunctional, it becomes yuck. Yeah. And so it ends up going into a state of blame. We end up projecting our anger onto the person, whether we're in the breathe or in life, it's the same. Yeah. And the note says the projection of responsibility and personal power to the other. So we're blaming the other person. We're giving our power away. It's your fault, the persecutor. It's your fault that I feel like this. You made me feel like this. And I know we've spoken about that dialogue last year too in some of the sessions. I don't know, can you relate to any time that you've said that to someone? You make me feel this way.
Got herself so far. She had an argument with her best friend, and she made me feel. And then she was like, "No," she's like, "The situation caused me to."
Well,
I was like, "Okay,
such a big win when you've got people in your space doing the work together, because then you can catch each other in it. And I'm a little jelly. I think that's really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. She didn't like straight
to witness someone have a conscious change in the moment is really cool. Well done. Okay, so that's one of the dialogues that we use. If you made me feel this way, we put the blame onto somebody else for whatever it is that's going on. So that gives us a sense of attack, and it hurts. It actually hurts the person we're blaming, and it also hurts ourselves because we're not being in our deepest truth. It doesn't feel nice to persecute somebody. It doesn't feel nice to punish someone for their own good. It doesn't even feel nice to blame or persecute ourselves for doing something wrong.
And that can't go anywhere. It's like not a resolution. It's just like leaving it there in a big ugly block.
Yeah, so it's painful. It hurts. It doesn't fix it. Like you said, there's no solution in blaming. It's just trying to like pass. I call it the hot potato. It's like, I'm feeling anger. I don't want to deal with this. You have it. And it works with shame as well. Basically, any emotion that we don't want to be responsible for, if we pass it on to somebody else, it's meant to be easier, but it's actually so much more painful. Yeah. And I'm saying it with a smile on my face, which is quite odd, but that's fine. So anger, if we close off, it becomes dysfunctional, becomes painful, it's blaming, it's attacking, and it just hurts everyone involved. When we get to that state of attack, it turns into a sense of victimhood. We become powerless because we've given the power away. And when we're in the victim, it's like that it's not my fault, I couldn't help it, it's someone else's issue, not mine. It gives us no chance to actually move forward with positive change. We just have to put up with what's going wrong. And then from there, it's a real deep, heavy sense of collapsed hopelessness. Right? It's like, what are we going to do with that? I'm so angry at someone or something, and it's clearly not my fault. It has to be their fault. And so I can't do anything about it. I can't change. That's just how life is. That is, I think, how most people go through life, suppressing anger. The government, the bills, the system. Blessed cotton socks of my father-in-law. He just gets angry at the bills, and he gets angry at the politics and the news and all the stuff that's on all the news channels, and the newspaper is flicking through, and it's just a little bit of diffused anger just spits out every now and then, just a bit of annoyance about whatever is around him, and it gives him no power. He's not actually looking at how he can contribute or change or take care of how he feels about it. So being in a really closed off state of anger, can't do anything about it. It's stuck in suppressed state. And the thing is with that, I spoke about it in the last session, if we shut down and suppress our anger, this one is beautiful. So good. The camera is showing us, but on the other side, it's like pouring beautiful heavy rain. Anyway, where was I? Suppressed anger. Yeah. I'll come back to it. Sorry. Distracted by the present moment. Long story short, when we suppress, no one wins. It hurts everyone. And when we play with that dotted line, which is what we do with breathwork, because it's a win-win situation, you can't get it wrong. You're practicing experiencing feelings in a state of vulnerability. And the reason why you can't get it wrong is because you're going to be given plenty of time and space to practice it. Being healthy and safe, expressing anger is absolutely okay. It's not about being violent. It's not about hurting someone. Yeah. And a lot of the time, we think anger, or we've been taught, or we assume that anger is dangerous. Violence is dangerous. Violence is not okay. Anger is totally fine when we do it in a healthy, safe way. Okay, and often, which is why we tend to collapse into sadness, once we allow ourselves to get angry, we can drop into a few tears. Often, it's never about the anger. There's often a little bit of hurt that comes just in underneath. Once we say, I fucking had it, I don't enough, fuck yous, all of these like big, angry, expressive words. And then once we let that heat diffuse, and once we let that heat come through, we drop in and we become softer, and sadness comes through. And then it's like, actually, there's actually something going on beneath the surface. And I just remembered what I was coming to before. If we do suppress the anger, we don't get to the actual root cause of what's pissing us off. Mm-hmm. And then we numb out, and that's where depression kicks in. Yeah? Is anything coming up for you so far?
Yeah, it's just true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is that kind of choice early on, isn't it? Because once you enter,
once you spin out,
it's really hard to come out. It can take a long time, but hearing things. Hearing things and just letting it, just being in it. Is a totally different experience. And you're right, not just because I think when you flip out, finally, if it's suppressed, you don't know what you're flipping out about. Like, are you flipping out because they didn't read your mind and pick up the towels before, or because your parents didn't listen to you, or like, you know, it could be
what's actually going on about this? Is it really about the towel?
It's not the towel, it's
Yeah.
not the towel, and
Yeah.
like, it's just a big trigger of all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So accumulation
Yes,
of needs
accumulation.
not being met, or
Yes.
the I want bucket not being acknowledged, or the what I don't want bucket not being acknowledged, and it's just like. And like you said, it's hard to get off that suppressed, explosive, closed-hearted cycle. Once we start blaming, it's like, fuck, I'm actually doing something really toxic. I'm already in it. I've got to commit to it, because then I would be wrong if I pull back old story, like default behaviors.
Yeah.
So I think life practice is to be so real about it. We've always got potential of spinning out in that toxic, closed-hearted, unhealthy anger cycle. We have to catch ourselves right before we open our mouth, just to feel the heat in the body, feel the tension, and just keep our heart open at the same time, which is vulnerability and courage to actually be open about what's actually going on. It's not ever about who tailgated someone, or who's driving too slow in the fast lane, or who's turned up late, or not picking up the towel. There's always something deeper. And so when we can express truth with compassion and feedback to the other person, whether it be on the mat, in a breathe, or in real life, it takes vulnerability. And if we can express it from a state of truth with our beliefs and our feelings, because my beliefs and my feelings are mine, yours are yours. Everyone's got a set of varying beliefs and feelings. I don't have any right to tell you what you're feeling. It feels yuck even just like trying to verbalize that. Like, you are blah, blah, blah. Like, no, hang on a second. Let me have the opportunity to ask you and tell me, how are you feeling, or what are you feeling? So you can express it for yourself. So it's important that I express my beliefs and my feelings for myself, and that gives space for that other person to engage with that space as well. It kind of like goes, all right, this is a hot moment, but I'm grounded in my feeling, and so are they. And let's play with that from there, rather than jumping ship and trying to tell the other person what's actually going on. Cool so far?
Yeah.
So sadness is a sense of energy to the body as well. What happens to you in your body when you feel sad?
That's like,
Yeah.
but like, it's a softening.
Yeah. Is it soft and heavy at the same time?
Yeah. Soft and heavy. It's like that, like, ugh.
Yeah, so it's actually a depressive energy.
Yeah.
It depresses us. It lowers our energy down.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, there's open to interpretation with the arrows. Yeah. So sadness is a softer and heavier energy than anger. So we're looking at the emotional scale, which is like depression is the bottom line. Like, can't feel anything. Wow. I hope the recording can hear this. So depression, sadness. If we don't feel sad after we've gotten angry, if we like cut ourselves off because we feel wrong, we just drop into numbness again. So it's important that we can practice keeping open, expressing anger in a healthy, safe way. Feel the hurt that's usually driving the anger anyway. The sadness, the collapse, the softness, the felt sense of sensations, whatever's actually really going on. And then moving from there into heart space. And a lot of the time, the set of beliefs at the bottom here, the personal belief, which is coming from more of like the ego critical mind. I'm unlovable, I'm separate, I'm bad or wrong, I'm powerless, I'm dirty or flawed, I'm unattractive, I'm worthless. Like the I'm wrong, I so relate to that when I was growing up. It's like, and I feel that part of me sometimes flaring up if I'm triggered in the right time, the right place. I remember myself saying, sitting at the dinner table, trying to get dad to help me do maths. And I hated maths, I hated school, I really struggled with it. I didn't enjoy most of school because I was bullied, all lots of different hot buttons around the whole experience. And Dad got frustrated with me for not understanding what he was trying to help me with. So it's just like cycles of hot buttons and everyone's just getting heated. And I remember getting so explosively upset. And I said in that moment, nothing I ever do is good enough. And it was just like, boom. And I really felt it. I was like, wow, I believe what I said. I believed it.
Yeah.
Because in that time, I couldn't get it right.
Yeah.
He didn't think I could get it right. He was getting fed up.
Yeah.
Which is
Proof,
all the proof of the belief. And none of that's real. None of it's real. It's just a thought that I decided to think and I believed it.
Yeah.
And it stayed for a long time. A really long time. And that's not true though, right? So heart space is a complete opposite to that. And the Abraham Hicks teaching in this, which I adore, is any negative emotion is an untruth to heart's perspective. So inner being or source connection or our heart connection is always okay with what's going on. So if I'm feeling negative emotion and anger towards something or someone, heart connection is still anchored in heart.
Yeah.
Anger is like how far I'm stretched away from my truth. So if I'm feeling really not good enough, or if I believe nothing I ever do is good enough, and that really doesn't feel good, heart connection is still anchored in heart, and I'm just straying away from actual truth. So when we get into anger, explosive human anger, that's so theatrical. How did I title it? That once we allow ourselves to diffuse the human part, because it's part of our experience, drop into sadness, feel the fear, the vulnerability, express it in a healthy, safe way, we come back to peace, happiness, love, which is I am love. I am one with the source. I exist. I'm innocent. I'm the creator. I'm perfect. I'm beautiful. I'm precious. All those beautiful, soft, opening statements and beliefs. And I really do believe the more we practice expressing anger, fear, sadness, our truth for where I'm at in each moment, that cycle gets easier and easier. And it's less hot and it's less tricky, which is nice to know.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to get big and ugly and scary. It's actually like, hey, it's just part of my human experience. Sometimes I trip up. Sometimes it's really easy and smooth, and that's okay. What do you think so far? What's come up for you with the bottom end of expressing and coming back into heart space?
I was thinking, I yoga teacher always says, so like love the, I guess like love the anger, love the love the fear, love the frustration, and like kind of feeling okay with that. And I think what you said about it, it's just human experience. It's important. Like it's never going to be perfect. It's totally fine to feel them.
Yes, it's okay to feel them. So love your anger. When you say that, I remember myself saying, make friends with all the feelings.
Yes.
Make friends with all of it, accept all of it, because it's part of being human. And the more we can make friends with anger, the better we are at moving through it to get on with it and connect back into heart space. How many times have we gone through life before we've learnt this work and stayed stuck in frustration, gone into blame, gone into victim, gone into powerlessness? Well, I can't do anything about it anyway.
Yeah.
Yuck. And when we stay stuck in suppressed, unhealthy anger, we're more likely to reach for the drinks and the junk food and the distractions and the scrolling and not actually deal with what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's like the power of saying things. I think you said, you said that untruthful statement about yourself and you believed it. You said it,
and it felt horrible.
It's horrible, and like because the words carry so much power, and like I think when I'm lucky enough, I've got loads of really understanding friends who are like, how are you? And like, I feel kind of sad today, and then you can go into it and you can say it, and it is like more real, and then you can move through it. Without having to kind of that's a form of suppression in like time. vocalize it to people because you can't trust them or whatever the thing.
There was a really big flash of lightning, and wow, it's beautiful. Very cleansing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you said about being able to express feelings as the emotion. And I think it's a life practice and it's something to keep practicing, because a lot of the time when someone says, hey, how are you? It's, oh, I'm good, I'm not bad, I'm okay, brush it off.
Yep.
And I don't know if we actually create enough space or time for someone to say what they're actually feeling. Like even greeting people at the studio. Hi, what you know? How are you? Oh, yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, no, not really. I'm actually struggling really bad. I've got period pain. My house got broken into and I'm stressing about the insurance. And do you really want to know about how I'm really feeling? So we have to be able to be emotionally intelligent and not go into the whole spiral of what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Being able to say, I'm actually feeling sadness right now. It's all we need to do. We don't even need to go into the stories.
Yeah.
We just need to express, right now in my body, I'm feeling heavy and flat. I'm feeling quite sad. We'll stop.
Yeah.
The because goes into the story, then it's all valid, but it's not always necessary. What we need to do is to connect with the feeling.
Yeah, because I think it's like people always have to justify things.
Because
oh, you can't just be feeling shitty for no reason because you could be a lovely house or your lovely life or like whatever, like
you shouldn't be sad. You've got nothing to be sad. But like it's necessarily justified because the person needs to approve of why your story justifies you feeling sad.
Yeah, and it's like you asked me.
This is what I mean. Yeah.
It's definitely wrong.
That's a whole like can of worms there, isn't it?
Yeah.
For how people can interact around emotion.
Yes.
So coming back to the mat, it's I'm responsible for my feeling. I breathe to feel. I give myself space to express it without judgment. Let the energy shift and come back to truth. Repeat. Breathe, feel, release, repeat. Breathe, feel, release, repeat. And the better we get at that for ourselves, the better we are at being in that space with others. Yeah. And I think maybe that's why my life has changed in a positive way, because the more I can help me do that for me, the less I try to fix it for others or try and help someone else do it for them. It's like, no, I make space for them to practice it for themselves.
Yeah.
And they really love that. Like, I've not once told you what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And I've never once, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, given advice or be like, you should do this because I think this is what's going on.
Yeah.
It's always an open question. It's like, what's going on for you?
Yeah.
What are you feeling in your body? What is the emotion? Like, sure, there's language and there's education on emotional intelligence, but it's all self-discovery. And so the more we can practice honoring our feeling in each moment, the better off we are in our space with others. Yeah.
Just thinking about it now, a really nice things that a lot of my friends do and that we do for each other that didn't think about it before is like say like, how are you feeling about that often? Not just like, how are you? Just like, how are you feeling? Like, how are you? Which is actually, it's just really good. It's like a permission. Yeah. It's like, and often it's really good because often like no one's asked you how you're feeling about that particular thing or like what that brings up, and it's a nice thing.
It's beautiful. It gives you permission to actually open up, doesn't it? Because they're actually asking a specific question about the thing.
Yeah.
Mum did that to me yesterday.
Oh, it's so good. That's nice of her.
I love Mum. Thank you, Mum. Yeah, it was a really specific, like, how are you going with managing your work?
Yeah.
Or how are you going managing the mortgage? It's a new thing.
It's kind of like it just exploded right next to us.
Wow. It's like, I saw like smoky, but it's rain. But it's smoky. Maybe it's just like the heat off the roof across the road.
It did sound like
very loud. Hold a second. My curiosity has gotten better at me. Wow.
That's something else.
Well, I hope the dog's okay. And I hope everyone else is okay. And I'm glad she jumped over the fence when I found her. So how are you with thunder and lightning?
Very good.
That's very inside. Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
are we going to stay in our head and talk about stories, or are we actually going to talk about feeling? I feel like it's a collar mark.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, how are you feeling about your low energy? Oh, actually, I like, how am I feeling? And another way to go deeper in it again, and just try it on and see how you go when you talk to people. How are you feeling takes us into our head. So I'll never ask you how you're feeling in a breathe, because it'll take you into your head.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, what are you feeling?
Yeah.
What physical sensations are you feeling right now? What physical feeling is happening in your body? What are you feeling in your body right now about? Yeah. What are you feeling in your body right now about? That's noteworthy. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. So you can practice it and just be like self-inquiry. What am I feeling in my body now about being on time, running late, cooking dinner, whatever like odd jobs are happening throughout the day? What am I feeling in my body about? As opposed to how do I feel about it? Because how do I feel is not really true. How do I think about it is an answer. How do I feel is like a twisted expression.
Yeah. So
Interesting, isn't it?
Sensation plus emotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Physical sensation, heaviness, tightness, buzzing, numb, blocked. There are still definitely thought-based words to describe a sensation, but it's getting us closer to the truth.
Yeah.
So, and once we can actually tap into the emotion, the cat's out the bag. It's more real, it's more felt, and then the dialogue will come from there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going into stories and
Yeah.
staying on the surface rather than dropping into the depth of it, which is why I love this. Yeah. I was going to go up here. All right. So questions, ideas, things you want to add to that? It's pretty cool, isn't it? How's your brain? You want to take one more thing in?
Yeah.
This is juicy. Juicy, juicy. All right. So this is the victim triangle. This is something that I live by. When I interact with people, when I go into a brief with people, I see people going into these roles. This is how most people live their life, cycling between the victim, the persecutor, and the savior or the rescuer. I'm going to go through this with you just kind of like lightly, but we can always come back to it and go deeper into it. Victim, let's start down the bottom. The victim has no power. Things happen to them. They did it to me. I have to. It's not my fault. I don't have enough time. I can't help it. I was born like this. My parents had this, so I have this. Therefore, no power whatsoever to change. The expression or the felt experience of victim. So I lived in this before I learned about this. I had no idea I was calling the victim card. The poor me story stuff. Yeah. It was just kind of like an adopted state of personality, which I had no idea where it started. Maybe primary school.
Yeah.
Primary school. I can't help it. I don't like maths. I can't help it. It's not my fault. I don't like the teacher. I don't like the school. My sister's better than me. She's got all the A pluses, so why do I even bother? It's kind of like victim is just splattered everywhere. Yuck. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Oh no, it's just so familiar.
Familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breathe into it. Because all of these little dialogues that we share will kind of set the stage for your breathe to see what comes up. And of course, it's bizarre that I say all of this with a smile on my face because I look at the results of what's going to happen once we move through it.
Yeah.
So it feels so much better not to be stuck in this.
Yeah.
So the next part of the triangle is the persecutor. It doesn't go in a particular order. It's just these 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
The persecutor is the one who points the finger. It's your fault. You shouldn't have done this. You should have done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We blame others for own feelings. So angry that they have no power and they feel victimized. Yeah. You made me feel like this, is that kind of dialogue. Can you think of anyone in your life that is a persecutor, or any times that you've gone into persecutor?
Yeah, I reckon I do.
Mm.
And they do it with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do it to each other.
You can swap roles. And then the rescuer or the savior or the protector, this is where it gets really toxic. And I didn't realize I was doing this in previous relationships, like when there's alcohol involved, when there's drugs, like to a really unhealthy, toxic, unsafe space involved, when it affects mental health, when it's someone's lack of exercise or too much exercise, how they're eating or what they're not eating, like whatever it is that is happening. There's a sense of going into sympathy. I think especially as a highly sensitive person, we can very easily slip into rescuer.
Yeah.
That we imagine ourselves as that victim going through whatever it is they're doing and justifying, making it okay and trying to make it better. It disempowers the person who we're trying to rescue as well, not letting them sit in their own shit and get themselves out of it or ask for help.
Yeah.
The fixer-upper, that kind of thing. To go through the attitudes on the right side, the victim, there's blaming, there's excuse making, there's justification, there's complaining, the poor me card, the nothing works, it's all so hard. I even remember Dad saying that to us when we were little. Oh, it's all so hard. Oh, you just can't do it. You fall in. But like genuinely it might be like there's too many assignments or they're really tired and they've got too much on.
Yeah.
And the empowered conversation may have been better to go, I'm seeing you've got low energy. What are you feeling right now? Is there anything I can do to help? As opposed to blah, dialogue, victim, persecutor. There's punishing involved in this triangle and going into sympathy, like I said before. And we don't take responsibility for our part or their part. It's a complete waste of time and energy. If anything, we use more energy being stuck in this triangle. It's quite seductive and there's manipulation. And like I said, it's tiring. And we do tend to give up easily and we can get sick because it's a burnout of energy. We will cycle between those 3 points on the triangle depending on who we're with. When I think back to my family, my mum, my dad, my sister and I, we would all switch, would all play the card of different roles. And if it's just the 3 of us, so like myself with my mum and my dad, or maybe like my sister and my dad with me, or like a different dynamic for a spin, the roles will flip. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself on this triangle in particular moments?
I think like this saviory, rescuey thing, I think I tried for a really long time to be really conscious of it because a lot of like I magnet people who need things. So even like on the street, they'll come up to me or they'll sit next to me if I'm sitting down at a pub and they'll like real out there people or like on the tram, it will happen all the time, like partners. So really had to get good at boundaries and things like that, because once you do take it on, and then it's just awful.
Yeah, it's awful because
it makes me feel powerless and it makes me think they are powerless. And it's like it all seems very hopeless.
Yeah, so you make them a victim when you try and save.
Well, like, and you've got this weird dichotomy. No, that's not right word. Like, at the same time as like trying to help them, also being like kind of blaming them for where they are, and it's like,
so then you're going a bit of persecutor as well.
Yeah, and it's like that's not like, none of those things are right. So just to learn, I really had many chances to practice this with people
every day.
Like, okay, like this is just where you're at, and like I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah, so this is just where you're at can be like a get out of jail free card, but then it's also like, is that enabling?
Yeah, that's really fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is hard. And at what point do you? Because I always saw my mum as like kind of like a nagger to stop, and I know that the
nagging you.
Yeah, nagging me, nagging everyone, and I know
so she'd be the persecutor.
She's quite a persecutor, and like,
and that would make you a victim in that situation.
Yeah, I guess so, and like. And it also makes me not want to stop doing the thing that she's telling me to stop doing. So like I'm so aware. So to get used
so that's
to
resentment.
Yeah,
like fuck you bucket.
Yeah, just like figure out your own way, because no one else's disapproval is actually strong enough to make you change. Like me.
Yeah. That just cycles into a deeper yucky space.
Yeah, so it may as well just be like, you can share your opinion in a nice way, and I'll think about it, and then if it resonates, then I'll do the thing.
Yeah, but even like sharing opinion of a judgment is that person's experience of witnessing you, which is not even about you, it's about their experience.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That was tangled, but it's like anything that I am triggered by in my outside world is a gift. It's naturally got nothing to do with them. It's all me.
Yeah.
And that's what the next part of this triangle is. Okay. And the thing is, when we start to play with this and become more empowered, we're going to really notice how many people stay stuck up here. And then there's a separation between how we are wanting to live and how we want to lead, because we're actually demonstrating there's a nicer, more loving way to interact and be with ourselves, but also with others. But there's a gap. And how can we love people who are still not doing the work, or how can we love people without persecuting them for not doing something that we're doing?
Yeah.
And become like pedestal type. People doing the work versus people not doing the work, all that kind of thing. So I have to be really conscious of that. The main dialogue before we drop down into empowerment is the victim triangle, or the disempowered cycle, is a place that we live when we think that we're not whole in ourselves. So we're looking for love outside from someone else. That's the like approval dialogue, or the acceptance dialogue, or the behavior. You're doing something wrong and you need a change for me to be happy. Persecuted to the victim. It's okay, you made a mistake. It doesn't matter, you've had a tough day. Rescuer. I can't help it. Everyone else is all fucked up, so I'm just going to be in this space too. So I can't do anything about it. Victim. So for me to be victim, that is an emptiness. To be a rescuer, there's an emptiness. And with persecutor, there's an emptiness. It's like we're not okay with what it is right now. We're looking for love in all the wrong places. Yeah? Which is gross. It doesn't work. It's unhealthy. We lose energy, which we've spoken about. So to shift from victim to creator, to be really empowered, we have to acknowledge what is the belief to me of it being this way. For example, it's a raining, storming day. That's the truth. It's raining and it's been thunder and lightning. And my belief is it's a terrible day, for example. I have to own that. That's my belief. And I have to know that that's my experience based on the thoughts that I'm thinking about the environment. I could be a victim about the weather. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous, right? For me, it's a bad day. And now I'm going to actually have a terrible day because I'm saying that I'm a victim to bad weather. Just a really petty example. Yeah. But I've got to own that. And the next thing is to acknowledge I have a choice to change my mind. The ducks like it. The birds are thriving right now. And the garden's drinking, getting hydrated. The farmers are happy. There are so many reasons why this stormy day is divine. I'm in shelter. I'm safe. It's fine. I have a choice to flip it. I think it comes down to those two key points. And when we do that, we have the opportunity to play in a space that validates. We have an opportunity to be really educated and grow and learn. We have a place that comes from a heart space, and the center of the triangle says this: the love and acceptance I want is within me. I'm not looking out for mom or dad to behave a different way for me to be happy. It's like, I've got to be happy within me now. I don't want to have to wait for someone to change their behavior for me to be happy. When I got that distinction, I was like, oh, finally. I don't have to worry about my job and the people I'm working with and my family, in a sense that everyone has to be doing certain things for me to be okay. It's like, no, do what you want. I'm good. I'm going to work on me. This is more reliable.
And like there's a really toxic, there's like attributes that are labeled as like selfish and things like that. I feel like that's kind of something I don't know, like, but you know, you have to worry about all the other people. It's like like the victimhood is like a real, they like languishing in it.
Yeah, so go through for some of those examples. You have to worry about people in the world. Where does that put them? They're persecuting you for not worrying about people in the world.
Yeah.
And then they're making the people who are suffering the victim. Well, no, like, even like this is, it can come across as quite sharp, but even people who are out of a job and out of a home can still find the next best step.
Yeah.
Someone can volunteer their time to wash dishes or pick up rubbish and receive support, financial, physical, environmental. There is always a way to the best next step.
Yeah.
And for us to take that power away from them, gives us responsibility, which is not actually ours.
Yeah.
And it takes the power away from them to actually ask for help or do something about it.
Yeah.
So precious, this teaching piece. So what other examples have you got?
Like,
is it about being selfish?
Yeah, I think it's one I feel like especially selfish, which was children, like in the same kind of like I want to go out for.
She's always like resenting the other people who don't have kids.
Yeah, and I was like, that's such an interesting use of like the word selfish. Like, I don't know, because it's like self-care, and it's like you don't know like what their life is and what they need to be happy. Like, you might need a child to be happy, and like that's cool for you. They really might not do, and I don't think for a moment that that's like really selfishness.
And then, so then it goes into a dialogue of thoughts and beliefs being tug of war about someone else's experience, and they're not even there to talk about it.
Yeah.
None of that's true. They're like two hypotheticals, two imagined possibilities, untruths. And if you're going to put them in the disempowered triangle, it's kind of like putting the person, like the woman you're talking about who has kids, making her a victim for having kids, but she's persecuting the parents who don't have kids and judging them for being selfish. It's just tangled. It's actually like, it's heavy.
Yeah, and people pleasing is that I keep thinking.
Okay.
Someone was like, it was on a dating profile, right? And like this guy was like you know, about me, like, you know, I'm a massive people pleaser, like almost to a fault. And I was like, The whole thing's a fault. Like, that is a really fucking toxic way to be. And you shouldn't do it. Like, no one should be doing that. And like, what the hell?
So where are you in that conversation now?
So he's a people pleaser. Okay, like if I'm a people pleaser.
Oh, the way you're talking about him.
Protest.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, mate, like,
yeah, it's like
you can get sucked into that triangle so quick. Minute someone is like, I'm a people pleaser, that could be them being a victim of, I can't help it, I just like to help everybody, even though I'm going to suffer along the way. Or they could be persecuting themselves, I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Or I'm a people pleaser because I want to please you, which means I'm going to rescue you and not let you make any mistakes.
Okay.
There's like keep throwing them at me. We can chuck it in the group too, because there's so many different ways we can play at this triangle just to make it really real.
Yeah, I guess there's lots of like behaviors in that people pleasing,
and it depends on the relationships.
So many ways that shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you feel guilty because they've done something that they didn't want to do because they wanted to keep you happy. No one's happy. Yeah, you're like, oh.
So I think it's kind of like, how do I get off a fast moving train when it's already happening? There's momentum already for a lot of people, and they're unaware that they're actually in that cycle.
Yeah.
So for our job, because we're wanting to grow and wanting to evolve and become really, really conscious of our patterns of thoughts and behavior and being in around other people, is how can we get off that fast moving train without derailing it for everyone? How can I get off that victim space? How can I get off the savior? How can I get away from being a persecutor and stay empowered without going empowered and victimizing the person who's not doing anything about it?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, as long as we can take care of ourselves and our reactions and just witness ourselves shifting through those triangles, as far as I've learned so far, that's all we can do. That's all we can do. Yeah. And then it goes into the 4 steps of self-assertion. Remember, I taught you that last year, and we'll go into it again. Because then it talks about how we can interact with people who are doing things that we know are not healthy, not safe, not okay, without persecuting them, without going into judgment, without going. Parents with kids thing is a great example as well. I'm very passionate about this. I think like this model is gospel.
Yeah.
It's very easy to understand. So we have to come into this space because it gives us more energy. It's easier to manage life when we're here like this. It's more fun. It's lighter. It's more flowing. We get more answers. We get more support. It's just delicious in every single way because I am whole within myself and I'm looking for love within, rather than having to try and get it from something or someone outside of me to be happy. Takes everyone off the hook. So the validator, the self-educator, acknowledging what is. It's raining, there's been thunder, there's been lightning. Jamie got outside, jumped the fence. That is what is. I could use what is as ammunition to go into disempowered. It's Reese's fault for not putting her inside. He put her inside, but I assumed that maybe he didn't close the door.
Yeah.
Right. So I could go into persecutor, and then I could put Jamie as a victim because she could have got run over. And then I would be a hot mess trying to like fix myself from going into persecutor and victim and becoming the enabler. It's like, oh, yeah. So the truth is, it's raining. The dog jumped the fence. She got out. She's okay. That is what is. Can't be argued. Yeah. We see the good in what is. So I immediately practice going straight into gratitude, which is a little bit of a spiritual bypass. When I talk about that, it's like not dismissing the emotion, but it's find the gifts in what is, find the good in what's going on. So the birds love the rain.
Yeah.
At least Jamie didn't get run over. At least she came when I called her. She was so happy and excited to see me drive up the driveway.
Yeah.
Just free. She had a payroller from somewhere out down the street. Yeah. So if anyone's watching this, my dog at this point in time, she's nearly 7 months, and we have a fence, very well fenced house, and she got out, which I think we assume she's figured out how to jump the fence. And I came home to her greeting me in the front driveway with a paint roller in her mouth, very excited and out of breath. She was shocking at the time. And so we're going to find the positive. She didn't get run over. So playing with an example for you today or this week around how can you become the validator and the self-educator rather than flipping into victim. Maybe that the guy at the bar or this woman with the kids, that kind of example.
Yeah. I spent one time.
Okay.
I was kind of like asking for some things in the house that were making me unsettled, and I was like getting into full victimy then.
Yes,
so
you were waiting for something. You said something that she was doing was making you feel unsettled.
Yeah.
So the minute there's a reaction to the outside world, that's the gift.
And that is from that is when I realized I wanted to live on my own.
Yeah.
Our housemate was like, move out. Was like, like, how are you feeling about this stuff? And I was like, actually really good. I'm really happy for her and I'm happy for us. Because I am, like, it's more work, but like, I think like everyone and like also being able to hold that I'm really sad she's going.
Yes.
And feel both okay, that being like I have to just make the most of things and workshopping solutions, I think. Like with the dog, just being like, okay, that happened. What do we need?
Yeah.
What do we need now? Like, yeah, we can change things to make sure it doesn't happen again. Yeah. And just learn from it. Like it wasn't like necessarily a good or a bad thing.
Yes.
We needed that to happen now, because otherwise she would have done it when I wasn't home for days and she would have got run over.
If it wasn't the if, it was a when. Yes. Yeah, great example. So with that example, to keep chewing on it, learn the lessons, learn from the mistakes, and drop the punishment. So the minute, this is a practice that I do as often as I can, the minute I want to blame or persecute someone for doing something right or wrong, drop punishment. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Fine, it's them, not me. As opposed to, you need to change for me to be happy.
Yeah.
You need to stop this for me to be okay.
Yeah.
You need to start this for me to be okay. All of that is disempowered.
Yeah.
Chuck it in the bin.
Yeah.
Drop the punishment. Save myself from going into persecutor. It's a waste of time and energy. How can I stay in empowered state and still tackle the situation? That's where it gets a bit fun. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Breathing space, the breathwork sessions is where we can chew on all of this and get clearer and get better at it. Self-assertive, I can, I will, be committed. We ask for what one wants. We state what we don't want, and we are open and willing to receive. We have to be open and willing to receive to keep us out of victim. Thank you. I'm really grateful for your help, your time, your service, whatever it is, as opposed to victim. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Like a lack scarcity energy as opposed to thank you, I'm grateful for receiving. Completely different energy. Yeah. Could be the same words that we use, but the energy feels different. Yeah. The success attitude on the right side. So accepting responsibility, learning lessons, being grateful, being disciplined, turns things into a win-win. I think that's important to note, that we turn things into a win-win, but we have to feel the feelings first. So there's a good chance we have momentum in disempowered cycle. We have momentum from our personality being a persecutor, being a victim, being the rescuer or the enabler. So we have to acknowledge, which is why the shifting statement is in the middle here. We have to acknowledge that there is a belief that may not be serving us, and then find the win-win. We can't go flip over to a win-win when we've still got some shit to sort out.
Yeah.
So I'm angry that she got out of the fence, and I'm so glad that she's okay. So I can be frustrated that it happened, fear that it's going to happen again, sad that she was out on her own. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous, but the feelings are all there. It happened all really quickly. Anger that Reese didn't take care of her. That was my fantasy. I assumed that he's obviously done something wrong. And so I was like really quick to just go, don't punish, find the truth. What's going on? I'm so grateful. So now, after practicing this for years, I take myself through that in so many experiences all the time. So you just got to keep practicing. Like, put this in your back pocket. Play with this everywhere you go.
That I start to do. I'm like, because I'm in a shared house.
Yes.
If something's not where I think it is. It's so often, and I've managed to change it for the last like few months because I just noticed that I go to that and like someone else has moved it.
Well done.
I'm like, okay, I put someone stupid.
But then you just
blaming other people. I'm like,
okay.
Where is it? Okay.
So let's chew on that. How do you reframe that? Okay, without persecuting yourself for being stupid and leaving it somewhere that you can't remember, and without persecuting someone else because it's got to be their fault.
It's got to be that.
What language can you bring to the table?
I just say, I put it in a different place.
Because it could also be almost persecuting victim in that.
True.
So chew on it a little bit more. What's the absolute truth? I'm looking for my keys.
Yeah.
Like right now in this present moment, I'm looking for my keys. I'm looking for my blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because if you even focus on energy around I can't find, you won't find it. How many times have someone said, I can't see the source? And you're like, it's in the cupboard. It's right in front of you. Like, I can't see the source. So like your brain will actually switch off the ability to see. Yeah. Play with it as an experiment. So the absolute truth in that moment of not being able to find the keys or the phone or whatever it is that's misplaced, I am looking for. Completely disables the persecutor and the victim. It's like, I am looking for. It just cuts all the drama and energy out of it. That's a really good example.
We put my phone the other day, and I was like, okay, gotta be, so I try to be really nice to myself about it and like not be like, and you're gonna have to cancel things.
Yeah,
I'm like, remember taking it out, it's gotta be somewhere and it will resolve itself. But when I've been being mean to myself.
Well done. Well done. Good job. I don't like to say good job. I'll rephrase that. Your behavior is unacceptable. Another example around this is when we had the break-in a few weeks ago. I actually was still so in my heart. I was empowered. I was like, where did I put my keys? Where is my handbag? So it's like, someone has stolen, someone has broken in. So they're like, there's a time and a place to be able to like fast track the absolute truth. So my keys are gone. My handbag is gone because I was really present and mindful that I knew that I left them there last.
Yeah.
So this example is incredibly challenging in that experience.
Yeah.
And I managed to drop out of persecutor and punishment straight away. I was like, they must really need something. They must be in a really shitty place to be violating someone's personal space and stealing. And I was like, how can I keep my heart open, do the work, and not spiritual bypass myself? I still feel the stress, still felt the anger and the sadness, but also don't stay in toxic triangle space. Stay empowered. Next time I make sure I lock all the doors. Next time I can make sure I communicate with Reese that the doors have been locked. All that kind of stuff, as opposed to aloof.
Yeah.
Everything's all the well.
Yeah. That was good. More bypass.
Yeah.
everything's fine, or like, and I think you can to not blame people, even though, you know, people be like, well, some people like just shitty and they do shitty things. It's like, yeah, but like also you don't know who they are, and I could probably put money on the fact that something shitty happened to them or their parents, or like something somewhere has not been as blessed as like our lives are right now in some way.
But they are also where they are because of the decisions and behaviours that they have chosen.
Yes.
So that's the enabler part, like the persecutor part again. It's like, cool, so then how am I interacting with this?
Yeah.
How am I cooperating in this moment with that energy?
Yeah.
How am I contributing to being a victim of someone stealing? Because it's the energy that we had for some reason. We don't know what it was exactly. It's like we're just the right fit for that moment in time.
Yeah.
So instead of saying I'm a victim of crime, because that's how they label it through like the police force and investigations and everything, technically in that system we are a victim of crime. That's the label that they use.
That's true. There's so much language around it.
Yeah. So then the truth is they came into our house and they stole our stuff. They were attempting to steal the car. I could very easily go into disempowerment and be stressed and be unwell and feel sick about it because I'm blaming them. We sit in the victim space, and then if we were to never lock our doors again, we would become the enablers. Yeah. So to be empowered is to like accept responsibility, which I did straight away. Okay, maybe I did, maybe I didn't potentially lock both of the doors. Maybe. I could have easily gone into blaming someone for having a set of keys cut and there was another pair going around. I could be blaming the agent, the previous tenants. I could be going into persecutor everywhere else, but accepting responsibility that maybe I didn't lock the door.
Yeah. Bring it away, you're like, oh.
Yeah. And then you can cycle into the right wrong story, and then no one ever wants to be wrong.
Yeah.
So what can always be defending self in that space. That's a good example too. All right, so just to run off the bottom of the list here, setting boundaries, sharing inner feelings, which we've spoken about a lot. What is the feeling in your body right now about this? Just always asking the what feeling rather than the how feeling. Owning opinions without projecting them is a real good practice. Self-actualizing, being heart-centered, being kind and gentle on self. So dropping the punishment and being really responsible about moving forward in a better way, as opposed to dropping into victim and staying there. It's okay to be happy and have fun. It's okay to be successful. It's okay to be wealthy, and it's okay to have limits. Those pieces at the end have been a huge wake-up call for me when I learned this. It's like, oh, like happy is okay. We don't have to be struggling to prove happiness or to deserve it or to receive it. It's like happy is our natural state of being. So nothing I have to do outside of me is going to affect that. I can actually be happy no matter what's going on. What a relief. So that's the place that I want to be in. We take safe risks, we laugh, we have fun, we play, we have goals, we make amends, we commit, we live from integrity, we're open, we're honest, and we are authentic. Which is why I laughed with you before, wriggling all over the ground, facilitating a session with you, having some fun, getting distracted by the storms, and just being like, this is just who I am right now. This is how I am. This is how this is human being showing up. And then just accepting it and just playing with it rather than being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I can't sit here, and then going into victim for being sad because you're really happy.
Yeah.
So we can play with that, be aware of that, look for times where you've maybe apologized for being you. I'm so sorry, I'm so tired, or I'm so sorry, I can't. Victim stuff. Just have this, like I said, in your back pocket, but also like the front of your mind. Just play with it because it's lots of insights can come up after going through this teaching. Very fun.
Because I guess saying like it's, being affected by what's outside, and anytime apologizing for being too tired or like not being able to like go out for that drink or like whatever, is like you're imagining what their limit is in the scenario and what's acceptable, and like it's so easy to just like deny what your own is. Feel weird about it.
Excuses. Yeah. So if you're going to make an excuse for not wanting to do something, is that kind of where you're going?
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm sorry, I can't because blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like I've got to pull the poor me victim story to be okay for saying no. That's tough.
Yeah.
And I actually did that all last weekend.
Yeah,
I did. I thought, I'm so sorry, I can't. I'm so tired. I need to go to bed. I'm due for my period. I'm so tired. I'm due for my period. As opposed to, no, I want to go home.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
Full stop. No, because
say the things, but it's so and that actually is like the people pleasing thing. It's like, well, they're not gonna understand, and then also feeling responsible for their emotions.
It hits the fan when people start to own their own stuff when other people aren't yet doing it.
Yeah.
So when I start practicing really honoring what I need and what I feel without pulling someone down with me, it allows them to sit with themselves and whatever comes up for them. So for me, saying to go home on time or to go home earlier, that can be a hot button for Reese because he wants to stay longer if I want to go home. That's tough. And I think old relationships that I saw myself in and other people I care about deeply, they were like the ball and chain dynamic of a relationship. It's like, we're going home because I don't trust you being out on your own and you're coming home with me because I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
That's like high school relationship stuff. And so now I'm conscious of it and be like, I want to go home because I'm ready to go home. You stay as long as you want.
Yeah.
I love you. And in the ideal situation, that's good. But that can also create space for more growth of, I want to go home, but if he wants me to stay, even though I'm honoring my feeling, that can be still quite tough. And it's something to work through. So honoring ourselves, being empowered, practicing honoring our truth and being authentic is still going to create contrast. So be ready for that too. And you'll feel people persecute you. You'll feel people put you in victim, and you'll feel people enabling your cheeky behaviors or whatever's coming up. So to just breathe into your body, feel into each moment as it comes, and stay open in your heart. Breathe, and then the right answers will come. This is not a do it once and it's fixed. It's kind of like, it's like, this is the constant playtime. It's a good one, isn't it? So wrapping through the last two pieces, what did you like the most? Tell me. Did you like the order of emotions? The flippy one? This guy? That's a great piece. And we play with the disempowered and empowered, so you kind of got a double whammy today. And they,
that's all. It all feels like very well. I suppose the last bit is like the positive thing, empowerment bit is like, that's good.
Yeah, this is where we're heading.
I think it's already good just because they're so interlinked and it's so easy with like trying this little thought, feeling, action to start moving.
It's subtle. Subtle.
It is.
Little things woven in and around everywhere.
And like I was thinking about making, and obviously going into too much detail about an excuse, but I think that's why I didn't want to hang out.
It's a deep process of thought when you're recreating yourself, when you're going through personal growth.
And like, I don't know, it just kind of, my thought around that is like, because with the original graph, it's like, the suppressing and that, like sitting on things, and how much easier it is when you say, do, think, or feel the thing first,
True.
like
Yeah.
the true thing straight away, and it saves all the stuff because you can get yourself into so much
Right.
tangle just because
Yeah.
of not honoring the truth in the first place.
So if you were to say someone wants you to come out, you want to stay out, and they want you to stay out longer than you have any capacity to do so, and you choose not to, say no, I want to go home. So you actually suppress your feeling. Immediately be like, oh, I don't want to be here, but I feel bad, so I'm going to be the persecutor and the victim all at once. And I'm going to feel angry towards them and blame them for making me stay out late. And I'm going to attack them because they should have done better. And they should have listened to my needs, and they should have come home when I was ready. All of that crap, right? And it hurts, it feels yuck, and we become disempowered, hopeless, and just yuck. Whereas,
and then it happens like 5 times in a row or over someone's relationship for years, that happens. And then they never knew that actually how much going on because you're an introvert. And then you get divorced.
Speaking of introverts, you can actually be, we all can be, it's part of the HSP, the highly sensitive person trait. You can be an introverted extrovert.
That's what I am.
Yeah. So we need to have like light and shade. We're like, come on, we pop out, we withdraw. We have to have like enough time to be socially hungover before we come back out again.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we're out, we're like, bah! And then when we're in, we're like, we have to be in and just.
And I think people make they might make an assumption about you that you like actually really like all those things and like and like I like both of it. I like all of it.
So I'm gonna manage my energy so I don't fall off track. Yeah. Awesome. Great 2 teaching pieces. And with that said, we're gonna jump off the recording and we're gonna get you set up for a breathe. Yay. We've got time. Delish. All right.